Hey, this is Matt once again. What about 10 of the videos? Another paid request. This time for Andrew. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos or topics, reactions, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the the pilot episode for the TV show That 70s Show. Now, I've heard of the show, I've seen bits and pieces of the show, clips, but I'd never watched a full episode. I just never came up. Now, the show ran from 1998 to about 2006, so I think it got about, 8 seasons. Now, the show itself takes place in Wisconsin from the years 1976 to 1979. In fact, I believe the last episode is New Year's, when it gets into 1980. And the cast, you have Topher Grace, who would go on to be Venom in that Spider-Man 3 movie. He was in the film Predators. Mila Kunis, which she would go on to voice characters on Family Guy, among other stuff. Ashton Kutcher, who would go on to be in Do Where's My Card, Butterfly Effect. I actually can't think about the last time I saw Ashton Kutcher in a movie or show. I can't think of it. I'd have to look it up. Pretty much you have Topher Grace, his family, his dad played by Kurtwood Smith, Clarence Boddicker from RoboCop, going on with this kind of, well, I guess at this point not really going on with this girl, Topher Grace, but you see is leading up to that. It's about their exploits and their friends around them. Ashton Kutcher is kind of the dumb jock guy who's kind of going out with Mila Kunis' character. You have the one guy who's a little bit more into... Actually, I don't remember much about the full show, so Danny Masterson is who I'm talking about, the actor. Which, from what I understand, he got into a lot of deep shit. Supposedly a lot of allegations brought up against him, so I don't know what the deal is with that. You also have this foreign exchange student named Fez, which I wonder in today's age that would be looked at as offensive. I don't know. You know how it is with today's age. Tommy Chong, he wasn't in this, but he would appear throughout the show as a guy who owned a shop. And so the show takes place in Point Place, Wisconsin, and we have our lead character Eric Foreman, and decent amount of scenes in the pilot taking place in the basement, which is a pretty cheap set to do it in. And pretty much the gist of the pilot is the friends hanging out, they want to go to a concert, there's a possibility that Eric Foreman might get the car, and one at least another, the dad finally gets him the keys, gives it to him. They go to a concert, car breaks down, that they give the guy 2 tickets, so they choose Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, and Mila Kunis thinks that, oh, you gave away your tickets because you wanted to be with me. While the others have fun at the concert, they get back home, Topher Grace and the girl kiss, and the show goes on. Overall, it was a fun enough pilot. I could see how the show worked, in particular, the way the cast worked well together. Like, Topher Grace I haven't really been a big fan of in a lot of the movies he's been in. I think he's a guy that you need to cast him in the right specific role. I don't buy him as Eddie Brock. I don't buy him as this dangerous killer, like in Predators. But I bought him in here as this kind of dorky guy who's trying to get by, has a bit of an affable quality to him. I think that suits him best. Same with a lot of the actors. Mila Kunis is kind of she wasn't really bitchy, but she was... she's like a rich girl who thinks she's a little bit above others. And, like, she'll demand the one girl, hey, let's go to the bathroom together. Because she'll go to the bathroom and she's like, well, come on. Because women always have to go to the bathroom together. Kurtwood Smith's a lot of fun as the dad, taking a lot of pot shots at people. Like they're making fun of the one girl dad's head who's a has a perm, and I think Kurtwood Smith says a line, "His head looks like a poodle's ass." Yeah, Kurtwood Smith is a lot of fun. He definitely steals the show. That's probably why there's the kind of a revival sequel called That 90s Show, I believe. They got a second season. It's like Kurtwood Smith and the wife character, and then it's the his son's kids, and that's what the show's about. I vaguely know a little bit about it. Funny enough, there was a show called That 80s Show that came out a bit after this, but had nothing to do with this show. It just, which is weird. Like, okay, they want to capitalize on the show because it's getting popular, but then it has nothing to do with it. But we'll call that 80s Show, so people will assume it's a sequel. But then they probably watch it. They go, wait a minute, this has nothing to do with it. Then they tune out because they're liking the characters in this. One of the things that happened throughout the show, they showcase in the pilot where they'll get stoned in the basement, but for a lot of times they don't want to say there's marijuana and them getting stoned, but you get the idea because you see the smoke. It's an interesting way they do with the camera where they have someone here looking at the camera or like in front of the camera, and the camera will turn kind of like a turntable to each person as they talk. Kind of a interesting, different way to shoot a scene. And that was a pretty funny sequence because I'm trying to think how they worded it. Because, I mean, they are high, so it's not going to make a whole lot of sense. They talk about the car, they compare it to a boat, and then this dating master says he heard about someone. The time they're comparing a cruiser to a boat or something, and then Fez, the foreign exchange student, is like, "Who's getting a boat? No, no, no. There's no boat." It's like, and the dating masterson goes, "Oh, I heard about this one guy who had this car that runs on water." And then Fez goes, "So it is a boat." No, 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 no. It's done a lot better than I'm doing. It's hard to talk about comedy because number one, I'm not that funny. Number two, it's hard with the inflection of, well, it's the way they say it, it's the way they act it out. It's different for each person how you view that comedy aspect. I mean, it is a sitcom. There's not a whole lot of background set dressing to really marvel. The only thing unique is probably that scene I talked about in the basement, and then when Eric Foreman goes up, he's talking to his parents, but because of the after effects of being high, he sees the background moving a bit. I told Lee Kurtwood Smith, you get the idea, is go get the car. I do like the bit where Kurtwood Smith warns him not to go out of town, and then when he gets back in, he talks to his wife. His wife's going, "Where are they going?" And Kurtwood goes, "Out of town." "What?" "Yep." "How you know?" "Because I told them not to." And like I said, they pretty much their drive, and the battery fucks up. They get the two concert tickets to the guy to get the battery fixed. Mila Kunis, you could tell she didn't really want to go to the concert, and Ashton Kutcher was going to break up with her. But then now, inadvertently, they've together again because they don't make out in the car while everybody else is in the concert. I think Ashton Kutcher got the better deal. You know, making out and having the Horizontal Fandango with Mila Kunis, I think is a better deal than going to a concert. So Ashton Kutcher, maybe he's not, maybe his character's not so dumb as people make it out to be. You know. But again, it has a quality to it that, like I said, I could see what the appeal was because the characters, the way they react and work with each other. And the thing is with sitcoms, even if it's a bad sitcom, it's only 20 minutes. So even if it's bad, it goes by very quick and doesn't waste too much of your time. The 70s aspect, okay, it gives a little bit of different feel to it. Because he's not going to have all the qualities of modern tech, computers, phones, all that stuff. At least the way they were in 1998. I think they reference like the gas, something about the gas shortage or such that was going around that time. I'm sure there's a lot of other references to that time period throughout the show. It's interesting that they focus, I guess, on a 3 year span, but then the show went on for 8 years. But I guess if you're talking about a decade, you don't know how long you're gonna be. You could be on for 2 years, or you could be on for 10 years. So, and if they said 1966, it's like, well, I guess we could only be on for 4 years or 3 years, really, and we'll be done. Like I said, Topher Grace isn't too bad. Forget the Wilma. No, not her. That's the other guy. I forget the girl's name who plays his soon-to-be girlfriend. They did fine. They worked well together. She didn't seem like a pushover. She didn't seem like a weak individual. She could give or take back and forth. At the end, when she kisses him, what was that about? I want to see what it was like. Well, was it ready? What would you done differently? Would kiss back? Guess we'll find out next time. And Topher's like, what's next time? Which I don't blame him. Of course, it's always weird when you watch sitcom. I mean, it was a typical thing, of course, but whenever you have the laugh track, as if, hey, make sure. I mean, there's plenty of sitcoms I watched growing up. That's kind of a part of sitcoms, is that the laugh track. I wonder what people's thoughts are now about laugh track. See, I don't know what sitcoms do nowadays. Do sitcoms nowadays still do a laugh track? I haven't seen a new sitcom like in the modern era, like in the past. Really, at least 5 years. I don't think I've seen a new sitcom, so I don't know if they still have the laugh track or not. I wonder if people review like an outdated format, or I guess just something we're so used to, as if, in case you don't know, this is when you laugh. But on the flip side, maybe it's like this: if you hear someone laugh, maybe it becomes infectious. You know, yeah. I know I'm going off tangent, but now I kind of want to hear about what the creation of the laugh track, and I think that sometimes they really did have an actual audience in front of it, but how many shows actually did have an audience in front of it? How much of that was bullshit and they just doing it after the fact? So I'm going off tangent on that bit, but so like I said, the 70s aspect, the showcase with the clothes and the environment. Like I said, it's a sitcom, so you're not going to see a whole lot of background stuff and a ton of set dressing. But the characters worked for what they needed to be. Ashton Kutcher, he can play dumb very well. He showed that in Dude, Where's My Car? He shows that in this. Guarantee you this. Well, this is how he got Dude, Where's My Car? Because of film. Which, I keep saying film, so he's talking about film because of a show like this. Like Ashton Kutcher asks about the girl's dad about his hair, and they go, it's a perm, and he freaks out and says, you tell me it's going to be permanent? So yeah, some of the jokes may seem obvious like that, but it's not so much what he says as the way Ashton Kutcher acts it out. And you know, the other jokes could be predictable. Like there's a bit where Eric Foreman, Topher Grace, is talking about these things of love, and I'm sitting there going, he's talking about the car, right? I wanted to say this for so long. Because the way it's staged, the way the camera is never going back to the other person, and I'm like, okay, it's about the car, right? And lo and behold, the girl comes up behind him, and she goes, you do know that's just a car. So at the end, there are jokes you can see coming a mile or two away. I'd be curious what people would think of the Fez character, the foreign exchange character. Again, with the white people nowadays, oh, that's offensive, that's racist. Like I say, Danny Masterson, I don't know what the deal is about all the allegations. What's going on with that? I have a feeling that I don't talk about that guy ever again. Overall, it was an easy watch. It was an easy watch for 20 some minutes. So, with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.